Supply chain visibility, more important today than ever. Well, joining us today to speak about that, Peter Weis, CIO and Senior Vice President of Supply Chain at ITS Logistics. Peter, great to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Peter, we've been talking about supply chain visibility for, quite some time, many years now, and yet we're still talking about it. Clearly, it is top of mind. I guess the question for you is, why? Walk us through what's going on that it is still a topic of such vital importance.
Well, if you think about supply chain disruptions over time, the latest issues in the Red Sea, COVID, and the disruptions that came along with that, there is always something that bubbles up supply chain visibility to the top. But the truth is the root issues that cause problems in supply chain visibility have never really been solved. This goes back, 30 years, maybe more. In fact, some of the same tools like electronic data interchange or EDI or uploading Excel spreadsheets or manual data entry, some of the same tools that were introduced in the 90s literally still exist today. There has been some progress. You have open APIs, you have website scraping, and AI and other tools that have made some incremental improvements in supply chain visibility. There are some new tech players in the space that have moved the ball forward. But the underlying issue is there really isn't an economic incentive for companies to just cooperate and magically start sharing their information on some standard or some format that everybody can share. Mm-hmm. So in the absence of sort of that global ecosystem of data that everyone can trust, you have just a purely competitive marketplace with winners and losers. And people position themselves, we are better than you, go with us, not with them. And so as a result, there's largely a zero-sum game in place, if that makes sense. And you've got a collision of really three different kinds of entrants. You've got traditional 3PLs that have deep pockets, good operations, good skills, good customer bases, but they've been too slow to innovate in this area. That's created an opening for the pure tech players that don't know the business as well, but build, for lack of a better term, shiny technology that is alluring to customers, but doesn't really fulfill the promise of visibility. And then you've had sort of a hybrid, these tech-forward, super tech-forward 3PLs that have spent probably 10x more than other logistics providers have to try to solve the problem. But they don't know the business either, so as a result, they've ended up largely being expensive disappointments, and in some cases have already gone out of business. So that's the marketplace collision going on now. My money is on the deep pockets 3PLs to really get their act together in the next few years, 5 years. May take that long.
At the top of the question, you mentioned the issues that are going on in the Red Sea. Clearly today that has to do with shipping being disrupted, by terrorist attacks on shipping. And we've had issues in that same area just in the last couple of years when a ship blocked, the canal. But there are any number of challenges, and some of them not quite as serious of that as those particular ones, where visibility is indispensable. Talk to us about some of the other challenges that folks are dealing with or have always had to deal with, where visibility would make operations so much better.
Sure, that's a great question. Think about sourcing. Things used to be built in the US, and then they were built in Japan, and then Taiwan, and then China, and now China has gotten expensive, and sourcing continues to shift to various countries. And when you say supply chain, that starts with the supplier. Mm-hmm. So when people change their sourcing, it's not just a matter of, I'll start making things in Bangladesh or Africa or the Middle East. Trying to get early visibility when people change sourcing with suppliers that don't know how to use technology is a huge chronic issue. Yes, you can tell me when the ship is late, when it's on the water, but what can I do about it when you tell me when the goods are 3 days offshore that they're going to be a week late? I need to know early enough on in the supply chain for me to take action. And that has been one of the real challenges, and these sourcing changes continue to make it difficult. And one other thing I'd call out in terms of challenges is a lot of the mid-sized companies just don't have the technology bandwidth, the people, the talent to build out these ecosystems where they pull in all of this data so that their supply chains can sing. It's not like electricity, you plug something in and it works.
Sure.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could plug in and get supply chain data all around the world so that you can run your business? But you can't do that today. So the small time companies really face big time challenges. The cloud is changing that over time, leveling the playing field over time, but it's a we are years away from the smaller companies being able to do what, let's say a Walmart or a Target can do in today's world.
Peter, in just a moment, I'm going to ask you what it is that ITS is doing, how it might optimize and change a client's operations. But first, let me pose this question to you. I'm someone who recognizes that this is a game changer, supply chain visibility. What are my first steps? What are the advice that you would give me that I need to do first on that journey? What would you tell me?
What a great question. The first is to define what success looks like. No matter your business, you have some way to measure on-time delivery, cost-effective delivery, customer satisfaction. You have to define those criteria because if you don't know what success is, you certainly won't achieve it. And then once you've done that, you can model that, and what I would say is start small, walk before you can run. There might be 100 events that happen from the time a product leaves Shanghai till it arrives in Chicago, but as a smaller company just getting started, how many of those events really matter? How many will you really take action on? 5, 7, 10 maybe. So start small, start with a model, and pick partners that you can trust to deliver that information in a reliable way. Too many partners almost certainly means you're going to get too much inaccurate data, which undermines the whole premise of supply chain visibility.
Great practical response there, great practical information. As the viewer can see, we are speaking to each other at Manifest, and you have announced here a new container AI platform, as I understand. Walk us through that. What is that? What's it called? What does it do? What's the advantage that I will realize if I were to implement that? What would you say?
Sure, I would say we innovate from the inside out as a company. So we built out our own cloud-based transportation management system, or TMS, to manage our core business, which is drayage, which is the land part of an international move, and pure over-the-road trucking. So some companies choose to run third-party software. We believe that needs to be an organizational muscle. And so we have built our own cloud-based TMS that manages all of our shipments. So this new product, Container AI, uses AI and other technologies to gather information from all parties around the world, add intelligence to it to maximize the accuracy of that data, and then render it to customers, particularly customers who may not, as I mentioned, have the capability to build out such tools on their own. This is a tens of millions of dollars investment. Imagine a mid-sized shipper being able to do something like that. So it allows them, even though we're largely a domestic company, this product is international in nature. It will follow the path of a container from the factory in Shanghai, on the ocean, on a ship, on a train, to a warehouse, and finally to fulfillment at the end of the cycle. So it's truly end-to-end, and it allows customers to get data they trust. You know why? It's the same data we use to run our business. So we know that data has to be accurate, or else we don't stay in business. So this product adds AI and intelligence, answers business questions, predicts the ETA, and various other fundamental questions for customers to get visibility they can trust. We call it inside-out innovation, or innovation by operators for operators. That's our message. We are not the sexiest company around, but history shows we're one of the very best.
No, but you get it done. That's great information for the mid-sized shipper, because you're right, they don't have that wherewithal. You've just helped them out. Peter, thank you so much for finding the time to speak with us today. It's been absolutely valuable information. Thank you.
My pleasure, great to be here.
It's Peter Weis, ITS Logistics, speaking with us today about supply chain visibility and why it's more important today than ever. Thanks for watching.